What's up, guys? Welcome. So we're doing game analysis, and Patreon members, YouTube channel members get priority. But other than that, go ahead and send your games if you're rated 1100 to 1200. I think that's the rating range I said, right? 11 to 1200. Do I know how to play with black? No, not very well, actually. I much prefer white, actually. So, let me see. I think actually somebody emailed me a game from last week. So if we don't have anyone else, I'll get started with this game. Okay, let's see this one. Premiere. Oh, and guys, when you send games, make sure you tell me what side you're playing, or I'm probably gonna skip it. All right, I play as black. Okay. So here's a game. We'll check this one. Let's flip this. Turn this on. Okay. What's up, Liam? Hey, Alan. How's it going? How do you submit? There's an email in the description on this video, and it's for 11 to 1200 rateds. And like I said, Patreon members and YouTube channel members get priority. So just mention that in the title so I know if it's you. We're gonna start with this game from Premiere. I'm gonna turn these arrows off. Okay, this opening is weird. Taking with the queen seems pretty good for black. Get the tempo. Oh my. That's more tempo, more free tempo. So hopefully this guy played e5. Yeah, nice. Just take advantage of that queen. Very good. Oof. I mean, how many free moves? Yeah, can you get d5? Oh my. Oof. Wow. Okay. Well, this is this is not how you want to start the game, guys. Number one, don't bring out your queen so early so that it can just get chased around. There are a few rare openings, like Scandinavian, where you can get away with that, but even so, like you would move it over to like a4 or maybe h4, somewhere where it's not going to continually get harassed, right? You don't want to go to places that are easy targets. So definitely a bad start for white. And then here, just lining up, the game's basically should be almost over, right? The queen is a lot, so we'll see what happened. Okay, trading is good. There's some more free pieces. Okay, so this is a free rook. So black should have taken that. I mean, yes, you want to develop, but not at the cost of an entire rook. You got to take the rook there, because now you don't get it. Okay. Whoa. That's a little scary. That's a little scary. Oh, it's check. It's check. Never mind. All right. I was like, that just looks like. Yeah. Okay. I didn't see it was checked. My bad. Oh no. I feel like black is kind of giving away the game here. Did black even win this game? Let me see. Yes, black did win. Okay. So I mean, like let's go back a second, because this game should have been really easy. And somehow it wasn't. So it all started right here by not taking the rook. That's one thing. Just because you're ahead doesn't mean that you should, you know, stop doing blunder checks and stop paying attention to stuff, right? So that's one thing. Okay. And even here, like, yes, black is so far ahead, but you don't want to give your opponent counterplay that you don't have to, right? Like, there are some threats that white has now if you castle into that. So that's one thing. Like, I would just castle over here, you know, get this rook involved, and then it's going to be like mate in a couple moves. So I don't know. Sometimes when you're way ahead, you kind of just play a little too lightly. I don't know if that's what's going on here or what, but I mean, again, free pieces, you want to be on the lookout for those. Just take the free pieces. Here, these are big pieces. Like, just get the rook involved, and you're going to be able to mate really soon. Queen and rook is very strong, so you don't need to do this. The knight's not doing anything, right? Like, there's not even any threats from the knight. So rook over, and then you're good to go. Like, let's say king here, then this rook comes over. Now you have both rooks and a queen. What is white gonna do? So, and now they go for the pawn when like these rooks need to be in the game. So okay, there you go. Now it's coming. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is just a tactic mistake, I guess, that the knight defends the rook, but you know, you don't want to give back pieces like that. And then again, black's just giving up material that, like, for no reason. You don't have to do that. You can play something like g5, stop the rooks. You know, don't give up a rook for a bishop just because you're ahead, right? Now you let the rook in here, which, I mean, I guess you get the two pieces, but still, like, g5 is just easy way to stop. And actually, that's a lot of times when you have rooks that are lined up on something, if you can put a pawn that's defended by at least one, sometimes two pawns like this, that's a great way to just make the rooks ineffective. And so be on the lookout for that. Okay, but anyway, and then black went on to win. All right, I think we saw enough of that game. Let me see if there's questions. How does a person get a... Okay, guys, so there's an email in the description of this video. If you are rated between 11 and 1200, you send your game or a link to your game, and you tell me if you are white or black, and I will go in order, and Patreon members, YouTube channel members get dibs. So put that in the email title if you are, so I can jump right to your game, and that's how you do it. Okay, I think we're good. Let's go find the next game. I think we are good to go here. All right. My next game is from Mai. Mai is white. And I think I copied the wrong link. Hold on, guys. Sorry. That looks like the exact same game that we just looked at. Let's try that again. Let's try that one more time. There we go. Oh no, this person is not in the range from 11 to 1200, so I'm gonna skip it. Guys, we're doing 11 to 1200, so if you're not in that range, wait for next time, please. All right, Sean was playing white. Let's see if Sean is in that range. Okay, this was an over the board game, so we'll do this one. Over the board game. Okay, that's cool. Sean was white. All right. And let me turn this off so you don't have to look at those boxes. Okay. All right, so Sean's white. Let's go. Here we go. Oh, King's Gambit. Okay. Knight f3. I think that's the main line. h5. That's a bit strange. I want to say it's like normally g5 is what people play to defend the pawn and also potentially go g4. And there's a lot of lines where you can just sacrifice the knight, bring the bishop out, and if they push, you just let them take it. I think that's the, what is this called? Let's see. Muzio Gambit or something like that? Yeah, Muzio Gambit. I think this is pretty good for white. I think white does fairly well in these lines because it's tricky. Black has to defend really carefully. But okay, h5. d4 is pretty good. Now g5. Yeah, I don't know about this. This is questionable. Maybe it's something. h4. Yeah, this is one way to do it, I think, and then you hop the knight into g5 after. I don't know this theory super well, but I think this is okay from what I do know. Bishop takes f4. Let's see. Yeah, that actually looks like it's the most played move, so I think this is okay. This is, like I said, this is pretty standard in the King's Gambit like this. When they start throwing these pawns, a lot of times you end up sacrificing this knight one way or the other, just to get an attack on the king. So this is probably pretty good. Okay. Yeah, knight c3 is probably okay. I might consider bishop c4 just because I would like to like castle and get the rook involved, but this is, I think castling this way is fine too, so. Yeah, I think this is good. Getting all the pieces into the action. This is what you want to do. Yeah, okay. Castling kingside's okay. I mean, it's you got a little pressure from black here, but getting the rook there right away, I like that. I think white's playing pretty well so far. Knight b5. Yeah, all right. Now you can take a7. I mean, this is hanging. Well, let me see. What does Stockfish say? I feel like taking the. Oh no, Queen c3 is the best move. Okay. Like, I would like to take that pawn because then you can play Queen a5 and you're gonna have some serious threats there. But Engine likes Queen c3 actually. So e6. Now you can take. I don't like this as much because now the knight is trapped, right? I mean, in the spirit of the King's Gambit, this is okay. Like, you're just sacrificing everything to get at the king. So, I'm okay with that. Engine really likes white's position too, so can't really argue with that. White's playing pretty well. Yeah, this is good. This is pretty good. Okay. I mean, I'm just looking if there's some better discovered check like this. Or even here. I guess there's nothing. So, like, trying to bring the rook up. Okay, yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I mean, I just feel like this is not an 1100 rated game. I don't feel like white's 1100. I could be wrong, but these moves are really good. I don't know if I'm being trolled or what. Yeah, I mean, white's like playing like a GM. Look at this guy. Look at this. What is happening? Okay, well, yeah, you played well. If you're 1100, that was probably the game of your life. But, okay. All right, Apollo. All right, Apollo is a member, so we'll do Apollo's game next. Yanni, need your help. I've dropped 160 points. Uh-oh. Yeah, send me a recent game, Yanni. Send it to the email in the description. We'll do that one next. That's the computer game between Stockfish and Leela? Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you, Sean, for the laugh. Appreciate that. He said it was an over the board game that he played. Okay. So Apollo, what's your email or name or something so I can find it in the email? Apollo, what is your name? Oh, there it is. Well, that's Arthur. All right, Apollo, tell me whatever your email or name is so I can find it. And then I'm going to do Arthur's Patreon member. So I'm going to do Arthur's. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to import it. And for future reference, if you guys send me like an actual link to the game, it's just a little bit faster than importing. Just FYI. Okay. So this is Arthur's game, and Arthur, are you playing? Arthur, are you white or black? Where's Arthur at? Arthur's black. Okay, thank you. All right, let's flip the board, and here we go. Okay. Oh, French, and then this is kind of. I don't actually know this system very well, but I've seen it a few times. Seems like a free pawn. Seems okay. E5. The only thing about D5 that you have to be careful for is whenever you fianchetto the bishop and then you kind of like cut it off, now all these squares are kind of weak. So like if the knight comes in and the bishop comes here, you're gonna have a hard time with this. Like if your bishop gets kind of trapped off. And since you didn't really have to play this right now, I think maybe just something like knight f6 and get ready to castle, and then you can always just bring your bishop back here. This is really where the bishop wants to be, right? As opposed to like over here on g6. Once you fianchetto it, like that's the diagonal. So that's the only thing about d5 that I don't like. All right. Yeah, I think I would have just probably played maybe knight f6 or something, but it's not a big deal. But you know, I could see that there could be trouble along this diagonal at some point. Okay, now that bishop's gone. All right. Ooh, yeah, okay. You got to be real careful when there's a light squared bishop. You can't, because like right here, you're still fine. These pawns are doing a good job. They're blunting the bishop. You can castle, and everything is pretty good. But as soon as you play this move, this is really bad news. Now you're not gonna be able to castle, and you got all kinds of weaknesses on these light squares, and that bishop's just gonna own you. So that's a big mistake, and I don't think that I would have let white. I mean, going back to the d5, right? d5 was probably the big mistake there, because I really want this bishop to go back here and just keep eyeing that diagonal. But even at this point, I don't think I would want to let white have that bishop so easily. So maybe you drop it back here. Now white can still play g4, but let's see, g4, f5. I don't know. I mean, even if you go here, g4, and then you go back, you've created some weaknesses on white's king that I don't think white wants to do. So that would have been one move, or maybe even just going back here. Because f5, you can just take with the knight, looks okay. And then, you know, you can probably kick the knight away and keep that bishop. So got to be careful with that. And then, yeah, this is not going to end well, I don't think. All right, well, a queen trade is good. Queen trade is really good for you. Your opponent should not have done that. But let me turn on the engine just to see. I think white's probably way ahead right here. Yeah, so engine is saying queen h5 check, g6, queen e5, and yeah, you're barely hanging on. I mean, white has an advantage when you're barely hanging on. So got to be really careful when there's bishops. You know, giving up your bishops and then also creating those weaknesses is pretty risky. So keep that in mind. Okay, but once you get the queens traded off, now you're just equal. That's a big help for you. Yeah, I mean, I don't like fixing white's pawns, but at the same time, these bishops are really gonna be really strong. And so I think that's an okay trade-off. That's a good move, getting a rook on the second rank. Ooh, yeah, just a blunder there. You know, one thing to keep in mind in these endgames, you don't always have to castle in endgames because queens are off the board. A lot of the pieces are off the board. One of the primary reasons for castling in chess in general is to get your king safe, right? To get it away from the center, to get it off to the side of the board because you don't want it to be involved. At the end of the game, you want to have an active king. You want your king to participate. This is definitely an endgame. So, you know, a move like king f7 or king d7 is probably pretty good because you want your king to be involved. Now, I think I probably would have played maybe king f7 or moved the knight so that the bishop couldn't take it if you want to get this rook over here. But yeah, I think king f7 is probably a pretty good move. Engine likes knight f5. But so yeah, that, you know, just a mistake there. And now it's really hard to come back from this. Okay. Yeah, and then again we have the so it looks like you might be struggling with these long-range pieces. And so I would say get in the habit of when you're doing your blunder check, you know, each move before you make a move. Let me see, what was the time control in this game? Doesn't show me. Okay, I don't know how long you had, but if you have time, you know, check all the long-range pieces, right? Like even if there's a piece in the way, you want to make a mental note of like, okay, this could become a threat in the future. I want to watch out for that. And so then when they play this, you know, you would hopefully remember like, oh yeah, now the bishop is there, right? So you want to constantly kind of be scanning, going back to here. If you were doing that, you would have been making a mental note of like, okay, I gotta remember this, right? My knight's defended right now, but if I were to like move my king away or castle, it's not. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people kind of starting out tend to struggle with those long-range pieces, and so just gotta remember to check extra for those. Yeah, and now it's over. Okay. But yeah, you know, your opening was great. You had a great position in the beginning. It's just trading off the bishop there, those weaknesses along the white squares, and then just the blunder from the bishop, right? That was the mistake. Okay. All right. Let's see. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and do the channel members and the Patreon members games right now, and then I'll go back and do all the ones after that. So let's see, Apollo. I don't see Apollo. Let me do Josh. Do Josh's game. Josh is white. Okay. All right. All right, here we go. This is, let me turn on this for you guys for a second. Go. Josh is white. Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. Personally, I like to play a little more aggressively, and I like to have like 2 pawns in the center, especially if my opponent's gonna let me. So like, if I'm playing this, I'm gonna probably play knight c3 or rook e1, and then just get my pawn on d4, and you just kind of have a little more options, because then like at any moment you could push this pawn forward because you have it supported, or you could push this pawn forward because you have it supported. You know, this is okay. This is just another way to play. It's just a little more passive. And if you're okay with that, then, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just, my preference would be to go ahead and just get those 2 pawns in the center. But okay, d5. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I would have maybe done the rook, but it's a similar idea. The only reason I would potentially consider doing the rook instead of the queen is because you're pretty much 100% sure this rook is going to want to go on e1. There's like nowhere else that rook's going to want to go, right? It's going to e1. The queen, it might go to e2, but maybe, you know, later you play c3 and it wants to go over here or something, or maybe you bring this bishop out and then you want to go to d2, and you know, now if it's already on e2, you're gonna have to waste a move going there, and you still have to bring the rook over to e1 later. So whenever you have like 2 moves that kind of do the same thing, like in this case, you probably want to ask yourself, okay, which one is, you know, for sure going to want to happen, and which one might potentially change. And so I think for that reason I would have played the rook, but it's a small thing, but you know, just something to keep in mind. Great, queen e2. Bishop blocks. Bishop b, yeah, so the thing about this bishop b5 check, usually if your opponent has the option to play c6 and chase it away, it's usually kind of a wasted move, because a lot of times c6 is a somewhat useful move for black anyway, and the fact that they can do it with tempo on your bishop, it's like a free move for them basically, right? Because, you know, you still have to move your bishop again. So, you know, normally you don't want to do that, and so probably just dropping it back right away is what I would have played there, but okay. h3. I mean, I guess you're trying to stop this, but I think I would like to see these pieces come out first. And because, like, let's just say you played, like, I don't know, knight c3, and then they went there. Well, now you can play h3, and black doesn't want to go back and get their bishop trapped, so they're probably going to trade. Well, that's a good trade for you. Like, you just got rid of a bishop, your queen's on a good square, and so it's kind of like, even if they go there, it's not really a big threat for you. Now, if there was like a knight maybe that could come in, and maybe it would be a little more danger, then okay, then maybe h3. But in this case, I think you just want to develop first. and you're fine if they go there. So that's yeah, I think that's what I would have done. Okay. So now, see, now you're developing, which is good, but now you've got a discovered attack that you're not dealing with. So again, and we've seen this already before, right? Like these long range pieces, you always want to keep in the back of your mind, like, even if there's something in the way, whatever's in the way might move. Like this bishop, it might move. Or like this bishop, I'm going to be saying like, you know what, this knight might move at some point, and then I better be ready for what's going to happen here. Like in this case, black can just simply do this and win your pawn because of the discovered attack. I don't know if they played that. Yeah, they did. So yeah, as soon as you see a long range piece line up on one of your pieces, you got to start thinking about that. Okay. Wow, all the way back to C1. Okay. So this is okay, but again, we're not developed yet. We've got, you know, 3 pieces over here that aren't really doing anything. This bishop's really not doing much either. This bishop's already kind of in a good spot. You got a nice pin there. So of all the pieces that you have, this one is probably the best placed piece. So what does that mean? Well, you want to get your pieces that are not very good and make them good pieces. And the ones that are good, like just leave them. They're good, you know? Now, that being said, this is a common idea, like, okay, to get rid of the bishop. I just think it wasn't the right time. I think you need to finish developing first. After you have your knight on c3, maybe you have your rook on e1, then I'm going to play this move, maybe, right? So you got to prioritize that development early on before you start trying to do too much other stuff. Okay. So we traded that off. The knight comes in, we go back, king comes up. Now the knight comes out. All right, better late than never. Yes, you have to be careful, but it's already defended, and g3 is like creating some serious weaknesses, especially because your light squared bishop's on the other side of the board, and this guy can come down maybe later, and this could be dangerous. So we really want to avoid moving pawns in front of our king unless we have to. I don't see a way for black to at least right away get rid of your knight, and so this is not really a huge deal. Maybe this and this, but that's 2 moves. Like, you have 2 moves to do something else. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think this is probably not the greatest move. Okay, b5, bishop back. Okay, this is fine. I'm getting the sense that like both players are kind of not sure what to do here. Yeah, so I think I would have taken with the queen only because I don't want to give that up. That's kind of an important pawn. So if you can, you know, save it, probably capturing with the queen is the way to go. Now if you didn't see that, okay, this is not terrible, but now you have to kind of defend a little bit here. So, ooh, yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah, I mean, you don't have any pawns left, and that's why kind of defending that one with the queen would have been the way to go. Now it's just not good news. Okay, that was not the greatest thing for black. Black could have taken here, actually. And then you're just done for. But, okay. I guess they gave you a chance. Gave you a fighting chance. Yeah. Black messed that up. Oh, and then... work. Yeah, so I mean, never give up because you never know. That was, you know, all kinds of forks here. Nice move there because of the pin. Very good. Yeah, now you're gonna win. But yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, the biggest thing from this game is don't wait so long to finish your development. Like you had a lot of chances there to develop earlier and you were kind of doing some other moves, and so I really want to, you want to complete that development as fast as possible, right? But other than that, you know, not a bad game. So cool. Okay, let me read some comments here. All right, Yanni, let's do Yanni's next. Oh, Apollo and Yanni I have to do. All right. All right, Yanni, like you're up. Yanni, are you white or black in this game? Actually, never mind. I think I know the answer to that. I know you're know your username. That's an easy one. All right, Yanni's white. Slide this over. Let me do this. Let me do, where's it at? Where's it at? There it is. Okay. All right, Yanni, let's see what's going on. I'm gonna do self-analysis. Okay, knight f3 is great. Knight c3 is great. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you watched the Halloween Gambit video recently. This is actually a slight mistake on Black's part. When you play the two knights out like this and they do this, you can actually take here, and when they recapture, you play d4 and you fork it. And what happens is you end up getting your piece back, but you also get this nice target that you can attack with your pawns now. So you go boom, and if they like go back somewhere, you just push again. And if they take here, you just take, and you end up with a really nice center. And you have the bishop pair, which is good in open positions like this. So you can probably play like bishop c4, maybe bishop a3, even just bishop e3, castling. Lots of good options. So this is a really good position for white. So that's just one thing. You'll probably, at the 1,000 level, I bet you will see this a ton, like a ton. Lots of people are going to play this, and you just take that pawn and play d4. Now, the other thing, if you take the pawn and they take here, you just take it. It's not a big deal. And then you play d4. And again, you have a huge center. All you're going to do next is bring the bishop out somewhere, bring your rook over probably to f1, maybe e1, and then you can tuck your king back here. So, and if they play queen check, it does nothing. You just play g3. And, you know, yeah, you're fine. So like, for example, knight moves, you can just bring the bishop somewhere. What's black going to play? Like, and if they do this, you can just block with the queen and you're okay. And even if they take here, you can play bishop e3. And this is something that, like, you know, you lost a pawn, your king's a little bit exposed. A lot of like new players are kind of get scared, but look what you have in return. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces ready to go. Your rooks are connected. They can slide over at any moment to start joining in, and black is like still behind. And so that's why this is so good for white. Computer likes white's position because of all the development. So anyway, that was a lot of bonus. Okay, d3. The other thing about d3, this bishop really should be outside of the pawn chain. Wow, that is not the way bishops move. Like bishop c4, bishop b5, and then d3 is usually the better way to go, because now this bishop's a bad bishop, and you didn't have to have a bad bishop in this line. You could have had a good bishop outside the pawn chain, right? Basically, when you're playing like the opening, you want all of your pieces to be on the best squares that they can be on. Okay, and so like these are really good squares for the knights, and that's probably the easiest part of developing in the opening, right? Like the knights, just put them on those squares if you can. It's going to be a good square for the knight. Bishops are a little bit trickier, but if you can get them outside the pawn chain, lined up on interesting things like this or like this, maybe it becomes a pin on the king, right? That's where you want them to be. This bishop now, I don't know what it's going to do. Like just sit here and do nothing for a while. You could do this, but even that's like, not a lot happening. So keep that in mind. Get the bishops out first, then push the pawns up. Okay. Bishop b3 is okay to trade. That's fine. Even though you get double pawns, this can sometimes help you get, you know, strong center. So that's not a big deal. Yeah, d4 is a good move. d5, yeah, that's fine. Getting some space, that's good. Now you've actually got your bishop. Okay, yeah, this is okay. This is fine now. Okay, so yeah, you're playing pretty well. You castled, I like that. You saw the threat, you defended it, kicked the knight away. This is okay, but just know when you play this that this is going to be like a weakness for the rest of the game that you have to watch out for. Right? There's no pawn that's ever going to control that square again. So keep that in mind. I'm not saying this is a bad move. I'm just saying you have to make sure you're aware of that. Okay. Took the pawn. That's good. Wow. Wow. Okay, so that's just not good enough for black. Yeah, that's just not good. Yeah, you should be okay here. Ooh, king f2. So I'm not okay, here's the thing. I guess you were like afraid because the king is open, there's a queen, which maybe you were thinking was gonna like come in like this or something, or maybe you were just trying to stop the knight. I'm not sure, but if I'm playing this position, let's see, what am I gonna play? For one, if I'm gonna use my king to stop this, I'm gonna go to h2, not f2, because the side of the board a lot of times is safer than the center, especially like f5 could happen, and then there's a rook lined up on your king. You don't want that. So h2, you do have the pawn kind of covering, and then you could let you bring your rook over, and that. The other thing that I might have done is maybe just slide my rook up, and this is another kind of defensive maneuver you want to keep in mind. If your pawns get obliterated in front of your king, sometimes you can just slide the rook up and use the rook as kind of a shield and put it wherever you need to, right? So like, let's say rook here, if the knight came in, you could just like go here. And the other benefit is now your rook's like actually doing some other stuff. So keep that little idea in mind as a way to defend, as opposed to, king f2 looks a little bit suspect, but let's see what happened. Queen f6, okay. Knight b5, ooh. Yeah, I don't like this move. So here's the thing. You're up a piece, right? Your opponent gave you the piece. By the way, Yanni, thank you for the super chat. I just saw that. I don't know how long ago that was, but anyway, thank you. So your opponent gave you the bishop, right? So you're ahead. So if you survive whatever attack black has, you're going to be on top. So that's your priority. Does knight b5 help you survive the attack over here? No, it doesn't really help you at all. If anything, it blocks your queen from coming back if you needed it to. So yeah, you're creating an attack, but you're attacking a pawn, and you're like maybe gonna have to worry about your king, right? Depending on what black's gonna do. It doesn't look like black actually has a lot happening, but generally speaking, I'm gonna think about moves like, queen e2, maybe knight e2, maybe rook g1 to get some control over here, and then this rook can come over, maybe something like that, as opposed to knight b5. But okay, see what happened. Yeah, so see, now you actually have a threat here that you have to watch out for. Rook g1, good move. That's a very good move, lining up here. So that was very nice. Okay, you took the pawn. I think that's okay, because black doesn't have, I mean, this is covered. There's not really any concrete threats for black, so yeah, I don't like that those are on the other side of the board, but I think you can get away with that now. Yeah, so this is a more serious threat, right? Because once the knight comes in, then your king's in check. Then you got to be real careful. Where's the knight gonna go from there? Where's the queen gonna go from there? So I probably would have started, and this kind of goes to show, when you take these pawns over here, yes, you're getting a couple pawns, but it's also putting your pieces really far away from the action where your king is. And so yeah, this kind of comes with experience, but you got to learn how to prioritize what's the most important thing in the game at any given moment. And right now it's probably your king. Like, you're up so much material, even without taking those pawns, you're ahead. So the top priority has to be your king, and so you really would want to like figure out how to deal with that threat. So maybe a move like, I'm trying to think, like maybe knight d2 to defend that. Knight g5, I'm not sure if that works, but maybe that to defend the pawn. That actually also defends h3. So those would probably be the moves that I would think of. Now, if there was a queen move that could defend that, I would retreat my queen, but there's no moves, right? You can't go there. So, and like this move, if your plan was 1, 2, 3, 4, you have to ask yourself, like, what can black do in 4 moves? Like, do you think black could potentially checkmate you with a knight and a queen in 4 moves? The answer is probably yes. Now, it's not that easy because you do have some pieces, but that's a really long plan in a position where like you've got an immediate threat, right? So this is something that I would think of once my king is safe, there's no checks or captures that are being threatened, then I would do something like this. But right now you want to deal with the immediate threat. Okay, think I've made that point clear. Yeah, so now the knight's coming in. That's looks like a blunder, so it's good you took that. That good. I mean, you're just gonna take the rook. Okay, that's great. Yeah, that's a tough. So this is a good idea. Like, I like what you're thinking, but again, it goes back to what's the top priority in this game. Like if you were to ask yourself, what's one way that I could lose this game? Are you going to lose the game if you trade off all the pieces and go into an endgame? No way. Like, you're up a rook and a knight. There's no way in the world you're going to lose. Are you going to lose because, you know, black like pushes a pawn down and gets a queen somewhere? Like, one of these pawns goes. Probably not. No way. The only way that you might lose this game is if this rook and queen can somehow coordinate against your king and checkmate you, right? Like, that's the only way you lose this game. So what you want to be thinking about is, if I play this move, can the queen and rook do something? And that would maybe, you know, maybe you would have saw the next move, right? Maybe you would have saw this, and now it's like, ooh, now there's a queen and a rook lined up, and they're coming to for my king. So it's not that easy, though, I will say, to figure out a better move to play. I mean, the only thing I would say is maybe like bring this rook over, because now you're defending the knight. You know, that square is taken away, and you've kind of, it's hard for the queen to do something now. So that's probably a good move that I would have started with. Computer actually likes even queen takes here, same idea, to defend your knight. But that's kind of what you want to be thinking about, because yeah, now you're actually just getting mated. So yeah, tough game. You played well, but you have to really prioritize king safety, especially when you're way ahead, right? When you're way ahead material, you got to really just think about that. But okay, hopefully that helped you. Knight to g5 was a blunder. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Apollo. Did I do Apollos yet? Apollo, I am looking for your game. Brass 423 on Lee Chess. Okay, let's see. See if we can find that. This one, maybe? Maybe it's this one. Let me see. Here we go, Brass 423. All right, I got it, Apollo. Sorry about that. We're good now. We're good. Here we go. All right, let's bring this to the center. Let's turn this off. This on. Okay. And you are white. All right, here we go. Let me just recenter that a little bit. You're white. Okay, what do we got? Oh, let me just read comments for like 2 seconds. Do you have to pay for analysis? No, you don't have to pay. But I do prioritize the Patreon members and the channel members. All right, let's see Apollo's game. So Apollo's white. Okay, so knight f3, bishop c4, castles. Wait, did we look at this game already? Didn't we look at your game, Apollo? Yeah, we totally looked at this, right? Yeah, we saw this. Okay. I don't know. I guess I thought there was another game, but I guess that's the one we already saw. Okay. I'm gonna move on. Who's next? Let's see. Let's see. All right, Peter. I think Peter's next. Peter was white. Okay. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Okay. Let's see what Pete did here. E4. Okay. Are you a London player? Looks like it. I don't actually know much about the London. I don't know a ton about the London. But so far, I think you're playing it correctly. Ooh, C4. So, little tidbit here. Whenever they lock up the center like this, that's usually a good thing if you're trying to like attack them, because then what are they going to do? Like, usually when there's an attack on the flank, you want to counterattack in the center. Well, guess what? Center is blocked up. So as soon as I see this, I'm like, all right, let's go attack the king. Now that could be with your pieces, like if you want to bring your queen out there, you want to bring this knight over. It could be with your pawns, you know, like this. But that's kind of what I think about with this. The other thing is e4. If you can play e4, they don't really want to take, because then this is like a target, and they're probably going to lose both pawns. And so that's another idea to keep in mind. But all right, let's see what happened here. Oh, queen f3. Okay. Queen g3. Yeah, this is a tricky position. Just because there's like this immediate threat here. Now that the knight's gone, I'm just thinking like, what happens if you play queen h5? Or is there some sort of like trick here with the discovered attack on the bishop? Like, I'm actually going to turn on the engine just because I want to see this one. Because it just feels like there should be a tactic in this position. Let's just see if I'm right on that. Knight d takes c4. So just going for the pawn. Oh, knight d takes c4. What? That's not the tactic. Oh, the rook's hanging. I see. Yeah, there was a tactic. Okay. So there's that pin, and you can just take this. Interesting. And it's also attacking the bishop. So yeah, there was the tactic. I didn't see that myself, but okay. Queen g3 makes sense though. I mean, it's, you know, I see what you're doing, and also opens up for the knight, so I don't mind that. I would have also considered these moves just to immediately kind of put some pressure there, but all right. Yeah, f5 seems like a good move for black because they're blocking off the bishop completely now. Yeah, that seems like a solid move. That's good, you know, taking advantage of these dark squares though. Okay. Wow. All right. So yeah, this is just a very tactical position. And I'm looking at the engine, so I know exactly what. But bishop takes g7, king takes, and you have h3 to win back the piece. And then not only do you win back the piece, but now you have like the king completely open. Your rook's going to be involved. Your queen's there, you know. Really, really good news for you. So that was the move. That's a kind of a tough one to find. You haven't seen something like that before. Yeah, h3 just hangs the bishop. So good idea. Just a very tactical position. What was this? A 3-minute game? Yeah, it's a pretty fast game. So, or 5-minute game. So all right. King d2. Okay, that's not a bad idea to actually get the rook over like this. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, the problem is everything's kind of blocked off. I think you need to get this move in. So like, I probably would have moved my queen and played g4, because once you can get this traded, then the rooks can actually do something. Right now they're just like useless over here. Maybe queen f2, g4, try to trade is what I would probably do. I'm not sure like what this is gonna accomplish for you. And now black is actually coming through, and so now you have to start thinking about your king. Ooh, yeah, this looks really, really dangerous. Oh, and you get a queen trade. Okay. All right. Well. Hey, nice fork with the king. It doesn't quite work because the knight can just go back, but it's a good idea. Wow, that king is just doing some work. Okay. And you won on time. All right, yeah. Biggest thing, work on your tactics, and you had the win. You had it. It was right there. Bishop takes g7 was the move. Right here. Right after this, that was it. Just take that, play h3, and it's over. But okay, nice game. Is Lichess rating higher or lower? So usually Lichess is kind of inflated. So like, I don't know, like a 900 on chess.com might be like 11 or 1200 on Lichess, but it's somewhat debatable, I guess. Hey TK, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Keep it up. I will do that. We'll keep it up. All right, who is next? Who is next? And by the way, if you guys are like Patreon members or channel members, make sure you let me know and I'll do yours next. Otherwise, I'm just gonna go in order. And Ronnie is next. Ronnie played with the white pieces. Okay. Ronnie was white. Here we go. Let's bring this over. Keep having to switch between Lichess and chess.com. It's all right. It's all right. Okay, Ronnie's white. Let's go. See what Ronnie did. Do you analyze games from 2000s? Yeah, maybe. We'll get there eventually. I'm just going up 100 points each week. So it'll be a few weeks. But yeah, I mean, we can do 2000. I don't know how much help I'm going to be to you, but we can give it a try. All right, so we got a Scandinavian. Oh, and queen d8. All right, just goes back. There's 3 lines. This is the most common. And then I don't know if it's, I guess queen d8 is the second most common, and then queen d6 is the other one. I used to play the queen d6 ones briefly just because it was kind of a little bit different, a little bit weird. But anyway, queen d8, knight f3. Okay, so you're developing. I don't like this move because you're blocking the pawn. This is like just kind of standard. You need to move that to get your bishop out. So if you do this, you're basically committing to developing your bishop like this, or not developing your bishop, which not developing it is not good. So then you have to do this, which, I mean, it's possible. It's a little bit unorthodox, and normally speaking, blocking your center pawns with the bishop is not a good thing to do. So going forward, I would say probably try to avoid doing that. You can put your bishop on d3, but you got to have the pawn on d4 first, right? Got to do this first, then you can go there. Because then your bishop, this bishop is free. So again, guys, it's all about getting all your pieces on good squares. Like that's it. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Just get all your pieces on good squares. So if you put that there, follow-up question, how are you going to get this one to a good square? Probably not that easy. Well, now that just solves your problem for you, but obviously black didn't have to do that, right? Okay. Tricky one's a good move, just getting into the center. b4, I mean, I guess if your plan is to do this, okay, I could see how that's a move. c4, okay. b5, I mean, again, I really like to see the development completed first before you start doing other stuff. Like you'll see grandmaster games where they like leave their bishops, but they're GMs, they have really complicated reasons for why they do that. Most people at 1100 level, you want to develop first and then start pushing your pawns. See, like this right here would not have happened if your bishop was on b2, right? Would not have happened. If we back up a second, you put the bishop here first, then you play b5, that knight's not going here or here because you're controlling everything now. So it's just better to develop first. And now you have to worry about your rook. Yeah, there's a tactic. Okay, so it was good. You won the queen. But generally speaking, you know, this is going to be better is all I'm trying to say. Okay. And now black's just throwing away pieces. Okay. What is that? What is that? I don't know why people... So here's the thing. Yes, you're ahead the queen. Just because you're ahead of queen doesn't mean you should start randomly sacrificing pieces. Yeah, you open up the king a little bit, but it's not good enough to just sacrifice the bishop. Don't do that. Just put it here. Bring your rook over. Bring your rook down. That's the easy way to do it. Don't because as soon as you start sacrificing, you know, you were up an entire queen. Well, now you're up queen for a knight, which is still a lot. But let's say now you sacrifice your rook for the knight. Well, now you're only up a queen for a rook. And then if you make a mistake, like, you know, your lead gets less and less. So try not to do that, in my opinion. Like, you didn't even really get an attack from that. Black is fine, right? So, all right. But you're up the queen, so it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just the biggest thing, try to finish developing. Just develop first. Then push your pawns. Okay, let's see who's next. All right, I think we're good. Good. Next we have let's see, who is this? Faris. Faris is playing as white, okay. And of course it's chess.com, so we'll switch back again. I'm like doing every other game. Chess.com, lead chess, chess.com, lead chess. Alright. And Faris is, I think I said white. Did I say white? Yes, white. Okay. What music is it? This is Harris Heller Stream Beats, lo-fi. You can just Google Stream Beats and check out the lo-fi playlist. All right. Faris is white. Knight of 3. E6. Okay. H3. I don't like this move. I know why people do it, because they don't like the pin. And if you don't want to deal with the pin, you play H3. But I don't know. I just don't like it. Because there's lots of like tricks, you know, that you can do here if black is not paying attention. So like bishop c4, bishop g4, h3. I think this is where you can just play knight takes e5. You sacrifice the queen. This is the famous checkmate trap. I'll just show it for everybody who's... Everything is covered. It's mate. Checkmate. Hey, Dreezy Gaming, welcome to Stalematers. Thank you. So, I mean, I would say, like, you hold off on h3. You play it later if you need to, if you want to kind of kick the bishop around. Or unless there's, like, a really big reason to you know, to not. But to just always play h3 so early, it just feels wrong. It just feels wrong. But, I mean, I understand, like, the idea. Okay, f5. Wow. d3. So, normally, when someone plays f5, d4 is how you want to counter, because it's like they're kind of weakening some diagonals, they're wasting some time not developing, and so like a good rule of thumb, they play f5, play d4, and just kind of open up the center. It's really common in like the King's Gambit. So you have e4, e5, f4, and then the Falkbeer counter gambit d5. Black does the same thing. So that's just a really good general principle to keep in mind. d4 is a really good move. And let's turn on the engine on this one. I want to see if the computer agrees with me or not. Let's see what the computer says. Okay, computer just wants to take it and play bishop e5, and then third move is d4. Okay, but yeah, I mean, it's still one of the top moves, and it's just a general principle. It's usually like pretty good. d3 is not bad, it's just more passive, and now you have this bishop that's like, what is the bishop doing here? Gonna have to go to e2, which, you know, not the greatest square. Wow, okay. You want to play d4. Like, we've seen this actually a couple times. Whenever they push past with the f pawn, or it can be on the other side of the board with like a c pawn in queen pawn openings, usually strike back at the center. Strike back at the center. Because once you undermine this pawn, then this is just gone. You play d4. That's what you want to play. Did you play d4? Let's see. You did. Oh, you played d4. Awesome. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, this is great. And they made the mistake and captured with the knight, and so now you're going to win this. Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly why you played d4. Perfect. Great. Yeah, so this is actually like a pretty common like thing people do. They like to like push by like this, and it's usually it's not good. So I would avoid that if you're thinking about doing that. Okay. So great. Great. That's fine. One thing that I would be careful of in this position is there's a discovered attack. Remember these long-range pieces lined up on things? So I'm not actually sure, can black get away with just taking this? Engine doesn't show it as a move, but I'm just curious what happens here. Okay, it doesn't like it because you just take here and then take there. Okay, but always want to be on the lookout, right? Whenever there's a long-range piece lined up on one of your pieces, always want to be paying attention to that. Okay, e5. It's fine. Don't want your bishop to get trapped. Okay, I don't like this. Yes, you created a space for it, but like if black plays this, is this really where you want your bishop to be at? Probably not. So, oh, and by the way, this is just a blunder. Yeah, I didn't even see that. It's just a free piece. So, yeah, all you have to do is just take that. But going back to what I was saying, let's just pretend that wasn't there for a second. If they're trying to do this, instead of playing a3 and getting your bishop stuck here, the better thing to do is as soon as that pawn moves up, there's a hole here, and you can just play your bishop in, right? Because like normally there could be a pawn that would chase you away, but as soon as they move it past, just push your bishop there. Now you don't have to worry about your bishop getting trapped. It's super active, and if black wants to take it, well then you have a really nice knight that's just sitting there doing all kinds of cool stuff. So that's normally the better way to handle it than to do this kind of deal. you didn't take advantage of it, and so you got it out. That's okay. All right, cool. Yeah, this is fine. You're way ahead. You got lots of pawns. Yeah, that was a... Oh, yeah, there's back mate. Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, nice idea. It was like your bishop's hanging, guy, but yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, this is really a huge mistake by your opponent. If you are in an endgame like this, you have zero chance if you trade the rooks. Like, how are you going to win a king and pawn endgame like that? You're just going to have nothing left, and the pawns are going to get a queen. Only chance is to keep your rook on the board and try to, like, do something. Bring your rook over here. Maybe you can take this and get a queen. Like, there's things you can try, but don't trade. Don't trade, right? Okay. Anyway, probably made it easy for you. Fair enough. Okay, that's good enough. And then, oh, all right, cool, nice game. Random noob, welcome. Thanks. Okay. Let me see who's next. Who is next? It looks like Christian. Let's check. Christian played as black. Let's just make sure Christian is 1100 is 1200. Perfect. Christian is playing as black. Okay. So let me do this. All right. Oh, knight f6. Hey, how about that? Fine. Bishop e6. I'm not familiar with that move. I guess it's okay. I guess you can play that. But it feels weird, blocking the pawn. I mean, you can develop the bishop this way. I think what I normally do is just play like c6 or e6 and defend. I guess the other thing you can just do is just bring your knight back to f6 and, you know, go about developing from here. Maybe knight c6 or bring this bishop out like g4 or something. Bishop e6. Well, let's see how it turned out in the game. I mean, it's not a terrible move. It's a little weird. Like I said, blocking the e-pawn's a little weird, but I guess you can do it. b6. Okay, b5. 4. The only thing that I don't like about this is you're doing a lot of pawn moves and not developing pieces. Now, the plus side is you're doing them with tempo, so it's not that bad because you are chasing the pieces around. So that's the good news, but you do have to be careful making too many pawn moves without finishing developing. And I actually don't mind that trade because, you know, your bishop was kind of like blocking you from finishing developing, so trading it off, even though you are giving up the bishop, I think makes a lot of sense. And yeah, you do have that fork, so that's pretty nice. And now it's great. Now this is really bad for white. Not only because it's double pawns, because the bishop back here is now stuck. So they have to basically do this. Let me just see something. Yeah, okay. I was actually curious if this move was any good. Just because you're sacrificing a pawn, but now this bishop is like really not going to be able to move for a long time, right? They have to move like 2 pawns just to get it out. It's okay, but it's not the best move. I was just curious. But okay, yeah, e5 is good. e5, e3, okay. Good. Pretty good. Was there a way to save that pawn? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think there was a way to save that. I guess maybe because the pawn ended up becoming a target, you know, maybe this is a better move. Knight d7 to defend your pawns. Generally speaking, knight c6 is better because you want to hop into d4. But in this case, maybe you could have went to d7. Okay, but that's not a huge deal. Let's see. So I think it's okay in this position, but I want to say a lot of times you have to be careful when you line up your rook into a pin like this. Now, it's not a pin at the moment because you can move and it's defended, but white actually has the option to double up. And now it is a pin. Now, in this case, you do have knight e7, which defends. But generally speaking, you got to be really careful putting yourself into pins. Because if for some reason, you know, you didn't have that move, you're just going to lose a piece. So now, if you thought about that and you realized that knight e7 was a way to save it, that's fine. But I know a lot of people, 1100, don't even think about stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. But okay, it works out fine here. Wow. Man, that's crazy. So this position is like basically equal right here. And as soon as white plays here, it's just like white's lost. Like, just like that. Wow. I'll let you guys answer this one. What does black play here? What's black's best move here? Basically just wins the game. Anybody know the difference between Patreon and being a member on here? So Yanni, that's a good question. Basically, I started the Patreon because a couple people asked about it, and I was like, well, if people are like familiar with Patreon and don't want to do like the YouTube membership, but they want to do Patreon, I'll just give them the option. That was kind of why I started it initially, and now I'm using it as I sort of do this Grandmaster journey thing. I'm going to be putting all that stuff on there. So yeah, right now I'm in this awkward phase where it's like half the stuff's going to be on Patreon and half's going to be on YouTube. I think like eventually I'd like to move everything to Patreon because YouTube takes like 30% of everything and Patreon doesn't take that much, not anywhere near that much. So maybe one day I'll like move all the videos to Patreon and you can just like have access to everything over there. But I'm still thinking through that. But yeah, so right now there's like different things on each one. But okay, people are saying rook c2. Yeah. Rook c2 is correct, and it's actually a really cool move because first of all, you're attacking the bishop, but if the bishop tries to like do anything, like let's say take the knight, then you have mate. After the rook blocks, you just take it. So it's like a back rank mate tactic, and there's just nothing that the white can do to save the bishop. So best move is like f4 and you just can take this guy. So that would have been the way to win quickly. King f7 is a good move in principle, you know, activating your king. But you know, whenever you're in an endgame and your opponent's king is like this and you have a rook, so many times there's a tactic that you can use to like do something. In this case, it was rook c2. Sometimes it's different things, but always want to be on the lookout for those tactics. If there's not a place for the king to run to. Okay. Check. Making some pawns looks pretty good. Now you bring the rook down, looks pretty good. Wow. I guess the bishop was kind of stuck anyway, so okay. So, you played good here. The only thing that I'll say, like right at this moment, let's just say, so you got an endgame. Okay, you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're up a full piece, which is very good. But you do want to be careful trading too many pawns. Because, like, let's just say if 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, if all the pawns are immediately traded, you're not going to win with a rook and a knight. I think that should be a draw. I don't think there's any way you can win that unless white like messes up, right? So you have to save at least a couple pawns to be able to get a queen. And so you want to be a little careful trading off too many pawns. Your goal should be to try to capture as many of white's pawns as you can without losing your pawns, right? And that being said, you know, as long as you keep like 1 or 2, you're going to be fine. But like I just noticed here that you're just trading a bunch of them right away. So you do have, yeah, see, like now you're kind of cutting it close, right? Like if white can somehow figure out a way to like trade, you're not going to win that. So like practically speaking, like what would I play here? Let's see. What would I play? Like one thing maybe that I might go here, you know, trade these pawns, and then I can focus all my energy over here. I have the extra piece. I don't have to worry about some random pawns on this side of the board, and I can focus on keeping these 3 and not losing those. So that's probably what I would do. I don't know if that's the best move. Engine seems to have other ideas, but you know, that's just okay, something to think about. All right, so we do this. Whoa, what? Yikes! Yeah. Oof. This is just a draw now, or it should be a draw. I don't know if it was a draw, but it should be a draw. Yeah, this is pretty common. Like in rook endings, when there's a piece and the kings are both defending it, or I should say one king's attacking it and one king's defending it. If you can ever get your rook to check the king and force it away, then you just take the piece. So this is something that you would want to be on the lookout for. So like right here, you have to at least consider like, can my opponent do that? Well, in this case, no. Okay, so you're fine, but now you have to consider, can they do, oh yes, they can do this trick. So what would you want to play here? Probably, let's see, maybe rook here so that you can block would be one thing, or even just moving the knight, because this is defended. So maybe just like moving the knight back would be one thing. Engine says h5 check, rook g2 check, so checks are safe moves as well. But yeah, rook e2 is also pretty good. So now it's just a draw. Yeah, this is the Philidor position, or this isn't exactly the Philidor position, but basically when you have a rook and a pawn, an extra pawn in a rook ending, as long as the king can blockade the pawn, which this king can very easily get in front of it, you're not going to be able to win. It's going to be a draw. So let's see if that's actually what happened. Oh, okay, so they gave you a king and pawn. This is still a draw, but I'm curious to see if your opponent knew what to do. They did not. Although, I mean, it's still going to be a draw, but let's just see if they messed something up. Yeah, okay. If it was a center pawn, by the way, what they did was wrong. Because it's a side pawn, it doesn't really matter. But, like, if this is a center pawn, and they let you get your king this far in front, now you can win. You put your king in front, and you get opposition. If you don't have opposition, you use your pawn to waste a move to get opposition, and then you win. Now, side pawn, it's there's always going to be stalemate, so you can't do anything. But yeah, big mistake was you can't lose your knight. Like that's your ticket to victory in this position, right? Your extra knight. It's the only thing you have, so you gotta watch out for that little trick. Okay. Carlos made a bishop rook mate today because of my lesson. Nice, Carlos. How long is it going to take you to memorize all the coordinates? You know what? Just start playing games and practicing notating without looking. So use a board like this with no coordinates, and you'll learn it really fast if you force yourself to play games like that and notate. Okay. Couldn't he just block with the knight? Okay, that's a good question. So no, the other part of this position is that if you block with the knight, Then the rook's hanging. The knight was defending it. So that's... then you're actually losing if you do that. So... yeah. Tough game. Alright, guys. I'm going to do a couple more. Let's see who's next. Channel sub. Let's see. Who's a... okay, Amon's a member. Sean's a member. Alright, so I'm going to do Amon next. And then... Sean. Alright, Amon, here we go. Amon, are you white or black? Oh, never mind. Never mind. I got it. White. Sometimes people's usernames are just the same as their name, so I can tell. And then sometimes they're not. So, all right. Let me just drink some water. And by the way, guys, if you're wondering why the chessboard is moved, it's because I've started training. I was actually playing a game and I was moving the pieces on the actual board. I have a tournament coming up, so time to get serious. All right, Yanni, take it easy. Have a good night. See ya. Oh, this was a bullet game? Okay, well, we're gonna pretend like it's a long game when we analyze it. All right, Scotch. I don't know a ton about the Scotch, but seems okay. Oh my, oh my. Well, you don't want to lose your queen in any kind of game. That's a... that's bad. That's a double whammy bad. Both players missed it. Okay. And I don't know why we're moving our queen like so many times, but these guys got to come out. I understand it's bullet, but these guys got to come out. You got to develop your pieces. We don't want to move our queen 15 times. That's not good. Alright, at least we castled at something. Rook e1, okay. I mean, I really don't like seeing these pieces over here, but I'm hoping that they're coming out next. F4, okay. So there's the pin. Now it's just... oh my. What is happening, guys? Okay. Whew. Whew. First of all, that's losing a piece. And then we went from losing a piece to losing this. You're gonna have to give up your queen. So this is a good example of why we always want to develop our pieces, right? I mean, look at this. If this knight's out here, the rook is controlling. You don't have to get mated or lose your queen. So that's why we develop before we start doing other stuff. And I don't know what black is doing. I don't like, what is this? I don't know what that is. Can you guys actually see the bar on this one? It's like jumping all. I can't see it. It's okay. All right. I'm just gonna go quickly because, yeah. So, I mean, develop your pieces. That's the takeaway, right? Even in bullet games, you're gonna win more bullet games if you develop your pieces. That's just how it is. Like right here, like you had a great position right here. This is great. All you have to do, 1, 2, 3 moves, and all of these pieces should be out, like in 3 moves. And then you can castle either way and win the game, right? But instead we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so many moves, right? So, okay. Let's see. I think I said I was gonna do Sean next. Sean. Okay. Pawn is white. I'm gonna do the London one, I guess. Looks like you sent me a couple. I'm gonna do the London one just because. The one I'm opening. Alright. Pawn is white. Okay. Alright. Pawn, let's go. What do we have? E4. E4. Okay. I'm liking it so far, developing. So here's a little thing to keep in mind. This is really common in queen pawn games where you bring the bishop out. Whenever they attack this b2 pawn, you don't always have to defend it. Like, I would like to castle. If I'm playing this game, I'm gonna castle. I'm gonna say, go ahead and take my pawn, and then I'm gonna bring my rook here. I want to say, if you want to take that, go ahead and take that. And I'm gonna come down here. I'm gonna have my rook on the 7th rank, and I'm gonna have a lot of compensation for that pawn. Okay. And let's just see. Does the engine agree with me? I just want to turn it on and see. Yeah, engine says castling is the best move. And just to give you an idea, takes. Engine likes actually both rooks coming over. Not sure, so we'll say this one. And if they take, oh, you could do that, what I said, or you can do this and this, and the queen is a goner. Bye bye. Boom, 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 boom. That's pretty cool. So I didn't actually realize it was going to be a queen trap. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes it's not, though. Like, and even if it's not, that's okay. If you get your rook down there, guess what? That's really good compensation. That's really good compensation. So that's what I like to do. And it happens a lot. Like, it's really common. So keep that in mind, that you don't always have to defend. Okay, 95. Okay, right here. Pretty good. Taking, okay. I think I would have just castled, because you don't really have to take. I mean, if he takes you, then you take him. And I want to get my king out of here. I want to get castled. I want to get my rooks together and stuff. But okay, 85. F3. Yeah, the only thing is, I don't know why we're not castling. I mean, we're doing good moves, but I want to castle first and then do my good moves. That's just what I want to see. And we're still not castled. And now it's like, I don't know if we want to castle. Now it's kind of weird because there is this, but gotta be careful. But let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, I mean, this is a pretty equal position. Like, the only reason that white's not in trouble is because the center is blocked off. But you do want to be really careful, because if black had some way to open up the center, this is not where you want your king to be, right? But black doesn't, so you know, you're okay at the moment. And now the king is definitely stuck, but that's okay. That's pretty good. Running over here. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. I don't know what the reason was, but that is not where you want your king to be. You don't want your king to be in front of your pawns. No way. I guess you wanted to get out of the pin. Maybe that's the idea. But that's just not how to do it. If you're gonna get out of the pin, you gotta go like this, or just wait for now. I mean, it's not like, it's annoying, but you can do other moves and stuff. But yeah, this is not what you want to do. Because now you're just probably gonna get checkmated or something. Let's see. I mean, I think black can just play a5. Yeah, a5 wins the piece. This is something we've seen a couple times tonight. When there's a pinned piece, guys, you can always attack it with a pawn, and you're gonna win it. Guaranteed, unless there's some crazy other tactic. All you have to do is attack it with the pawn, right? We saw that other game where white could have sacrificed on g7, remember, and then play like h3. Same thing here. Boom, a5. But okay, now you get out of that. Okay, now you're back in the game. Black messed that up big time. Like, let's see, what was black supposed to play here? Black was supposed to play... Actually, was there a better move here? Taking. And then if you take... then bring the rook over, and now there's even more open files. And on knight b4, oh yeah, the queen, of course. Can't take, so yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Sorry. All right, so we have this, and now you're winning. Okay, funny. All right, nice fork, and you're way ahead. Okay, yeah. So the big thing. King b3 was really bad. Like, if there are queens on the board and you play a move like this, like 99 times out of 100, it's going to be the wrong move. I can just tell you. You don't even have to like think about it. It's just going to be wrong. You don't want your king up like that. Now, if queens are off the board, completely different story. If queens are not on the board, you can probably get away with a move like that. And actually activating your king at the end of the game is a good thing. But not when the queens are still on. They're just going to get mated if black knows what they're doing. Okay. Let's see. How often? Every Wednesday night, guys. Every Wednesday night. Okay. Well, let me see if anybody else is next. Jonathan. Go with Jonathan next. Jonathan, are you white or black? I might have to skip this one, unless Jonathan's still here. Jonathan, white or black? I don't see Jonathan. Oh, there's Jonathan. He's black. Okay. Shang says, I sent my game a while back. Yeah, Shang, your game is like not even, there's quite a few in front of you. Like, I'm sorry. There's just, I just have a lot of games. Like, that's why I try to like focus on the members to at least get theirs done, because I have like 30 games or something in here. So, I'm not gonna get to them all. I'm just there's just too many. But I will do what I can. So I'm doing Jonathan's, and he said black. Okay, Jonathan's black. All right. So I don't know if Jonathan's black, but he's playing black. I know that much. Playing as black. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Paulo just realized he was 19 minutes behind the live stream. That's why you were asking me all those questions that didn't make sense. Like, why didn't I analyze your game and stuff? Okay. It makes a lot more sense now. Let's see. I don't really play the modern much, so I don't know theory-wise. I think this is okay. I think this is one way to play it. Yeah, I think this is fine. I don't know about the c6 move. Let's turn on the engine just because I'm not super familiar with the theory here. And I have to flip the board again. Okay. I just want to make sure that I don't miss some like obvious thing here. D6 feels a little weird. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably better to like castle and try to play F5. Because if you leave the center like locked up, then you can kind of take your time and attack the king over here. Usually when you play these King's Indian type setups, you want to like try to break the center with F5 at some point and attack on the king side, I believe. C6, like I don't know how much you're going to accomplish, because even if you take that, I mean, white's got like a bajillion options that they can do. Just throw the knight back in there, or even just capture this way, and like you don't really do much. Whereas F5, now you can castle and you have a rook here, right? An open file for your rook. So that seems like a bit more, you know, beneficial to you than C6, in my opinion. Yeah, and it looks like computer kind of agrees with me on that. It doesn't really like C6, so keep that in mind. Okay, A4, A5. You know, again, I think we want to castle, and A5 is a useful move sometimes in these positions because you create a hole for your knight, and you know you stop B4, but it also creates a hole for white's knight. And so, I don't know. I think I want to castle and play F5. That's what I want to do. Yeah, now the knight's coming in. Ooh. This is bad news. This is why we castle first. This is why we castle before we do anything else. It's like every game. It's like almost every game we've looked at tonight, guys. Like people just aren't castling fast enough. I don't know if... Yeah, no, I didn't see it, but... This is what is this called? I forget. I think it's Zwischenzug or something like that. Anyway, it's an intermediate move, and basically what it means is you're expecting white to recapture, but they can play a move in between, which is check. You have to move, and then they recapture. And what they've done is completely destroyed your king in one move. Now you're toast. You can't castle. You lost this important pawn. Now this is a protected pass pawn. And it's just bad news, right? So that would not have happened had you been castled, because this wouldn't be check. And if white tried to do that, well, then you'd be like, well, thank you very much. I'm going to take another piece. So we can see the importance castling early before you start doing other stuff. Unless you're a GM, GMs can do what they want. They can castle when they want. They can delay it all game if they want. But you guys are not GMs, so don't do that. Okay. 96 came later, but now you got castled, so it's not as nearly as bad. It's still bad for you because of the pawn, but it's not as bad. Now you played F5. Yeah, so you're doing like kind of the right stuff, just in the wrong order, I guess, and not fast enough, right? Like you wanted to castle sooner. I would have liked to see this sooner instead of this move, you know. Okay. Looks a little tricky here. Okay, engine does not like that move. Why not? Oh, because it's gonna get pinned, I guess, you know. Yeah, that's a little tricky. This kind of shows like open files when there's rooks are very powerful if you can get pins. And so, you know, you had to really take with the queen here. If you take with the queen, I think you're okay. Yeah, it's equal. Take with the queen, you're just fine. Because then takes, and even though the rook goes there, there's no pin, right? So that's kind of another important lesson. Like, watch out for pins when you're recapturing things when there's open files. Yeah, castle before move 10. That's right. If possible, that is correct. Right, so we have this. All right, this is a good move. I like this move. It's a nice try to create some counterplay. Unfortunately, it's with check, so it doesn't actually work. But I like the idea. Okay. Oof, yeah. I guess I mean, at this point, I don't think you can really do anything. Yeah, there's not any good moves. So that pin was all. That was where the game fell apart right here. If you take with the queen here, you're fine. You're totally fine. This is just equal. It's an equal position. So yeah, not a bad game. The only thing I would say is like just going way back. Castle right here and play f5 and you're in business. This is great. You're just in business if you do that, I think. So okay. I can do, let's do 1 or 2 more games. Any more members? Let me check. Patreon members. No? Okay, I don't think so. So there's like a lot of games I didn't get to, guys. I'm sorry. I got other things I gotta finish tonight, so I gotta go. I will do one more. It looks like who's gonna be the lucky person? Some of these are like there's no links. Let's see. Some of these people are not telling me if they're white or black. Okay. Wow. All right. Finally got one here. Avi. Avi is playing as white. Okay. I think this will be the last one, guys. He is playing as white. Oh no, this is. Sorry, this is a bullet game. I don't really want to do bullet games, guys, because bullet games, you're not gonna learn as much, I don't think. So let's just skip that. I'm sorry. I want to find one that's not bullet game. Let's see. Let's see. No links. Okay. Let's do this one. As long as it's not a bullet game. Let's check first. Let's check. Okay, 10-minute game. Here we go. All right, playing as black. This is Feek, I think is how you say his name. Feek. Okay, playing as black. Here we go. This will be the last one, guys. Fortunately. Okay. Playing as black. Let's what am I trying to do? There we go. All right, here we go. Let me turn these things off. Second. See that. Okay, French. I'm not a French player, so I can't really help you there, but seems okay. Okay, so the center is locked up. So usually when the center is locked up, you have to figure out how to make something happen on one side of the board or the other side, and these are some of the tougher positions to play, in my opinion, because it's like kind of tricky to know what to do. So white is getting something going here, so I would be careful. Yeah, b6. I don't like it because of the weaknesses, although you do have your bishop still, and you can, you know, come back here and trade that off if you have to. So it's not terrible, and also there's not a lot of other pieces, so I think you can get away with it in this case. Right? I think that's fine, getting rid of that bishop. I think this is a good move because you want to play f5, but white beats you to it. King h8. Yeah, I mean, this is a tough position to play. I feel like I would want to play f5 myself because then I'm gonna activate my rook, but it's tricky after takes bishop here. I don't know. I mean, maybe king h8 is not bad. Okay. e5 takes. Okay. Yeah, so you just hung the pawn there. I mean, maybe just bring the rook over, or actually queen e3 looks like a good move. Because this is pinned, and then you're attacking there, and it kind of infiltrates the position. Maybe that would have been a good one. Takes. Ooh. Yeah, now your king's in trouble. Yeah, so that's one thing about these like closed off positions. If you ever let the opponent get in, it usually doesn't end well. So you had to pay really close attention to this pawn, and that was a huge threat. That's the only thing really keeping the queen out at that moment. Afraid to get pinned. Okay. Not sure what you mean by that. Gonna get pinned. Yeah, and then it's yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, personally, going back to the beginning, I don't really like games like this where everything gets locked up. So I don't like to play that way. You know, some people are good at that, but I would say it's much more difficult to play games like this. And so, you know, maybe you don't do that, right? You don't push by all the time. Maybe you leave some tension in the position, right? Or maybe you trade to at least have some things open. Just something to think about. But okay, I think that will be the last one for tonight, guys. Maybe I can just answer a couple questions for like 5 minutes before I call it a night. Any final last words? And I apologize to everyone who I did not get to your game. I just can't do them all, so. What's your favorite opening to play? I have a lot of different openings. I've been really enjoying the Latvian Gambit. Why can't I play this? Anyway, the Latvian Gambit, e4, e5, knight f3, and then f5. Been having a lot of fun with that lately. I haven't played it a ton, but when I have played it, it's been a lot of fun. Have you read 6 Power Moves of Chess? No, Silver Fox, I've not read that. Not read that one. I'm thinking about switching to d4. Don't do it. Don't do it. d4 is where it's at. No, I used to play d4 a long time ago, and then I switched to e4, but d4, no. I think if you're going to play d4, you just get familiar with Queen's Gambit, because that type of position can come up from a lot of different ways. But no, I mean, I'm not really a d4 player now, so I don't really have a ton of advice for you there. Better to be on paid member on YouTube or Patreon. I don't know, man. It's gonna probably eventually I'll switch over to Patreon, so maybe it's better over there. What I'll probably do is throw, like I said earlier, I'll probably throw all the videos over there and just anyone can have access to them. But I I'm not going to do that right at this moment, so. The streams are always on Wednesday nights. Same time, same place. Next week we'll do, what are we at? 12 to 1300. So, yeah. Thank you guys. Thoughts on the Dutch? I think the Dutch is a cool opening. I think you better spend some time learning some of the basic lines if you're gonna play it, because it's a little bit risky, especially for like newer players. But if you're like above 1500, yeah, it should be good. Oh, Silver Fox, patron member. You're double supporting me. Nice. Thank you. Double thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, guys, I'm excited. I got a tournament coming up. Less than a month, I think. Yeah, less than a month. I've been like starting to train, and I'm gonna be posting all that stuff over on the Patreon, like my training routine and what I'm doing, and yeah. Going for GM. I'm just gonna skip IM. I'm not gonna be an IM. I'm just gonna go straight to GM. I think that's allowed. I think you can do that. You just get the norms, you get your rating up there, and there you go. GM. Sub 900 against D4. Yeah, you can just play D5. Just play D5 and do like a Queen's Gambit decline is probably what you can start with. Indian games actually can be a good learning opportunity if you do spend a little bit of time learning them. They are maybe can be a little bit more confusing, but also a good learning opportunity. So thank you, TK. Me too. I'm excited too. I've been learning a ton actually lately, so. Thanks, Joey. Take it easy. Sicilian or Caro-Kann? Some people say Caro-Kann's a mouse-lit version of Sicilian. Yeah. I don't really know. Sicilian, there's a lot of theory, which you don't have to know all the theory to play it, and that could be a good thing, like, because nobody's, you know, at the lower levels, nobody's gonna know, like, if you learn like a particular line in the Sicilian, they're not gonna probably know it because there's so much to learn. Caro-Kann, there's not as much, and so I guess, you know, maybe if somebody had studied it more, I don't know what I'm saying. It's up to you. They're just different. I don't really know. I don't play either of them, so I shouldn't really talk too much. Daryl, what's up, Daryl? Daryl is like always giving me good advice for the channel. Who's your personal nemesis in the chess community? You know, I don't really have a rivalry with anyone because I haven't even played in a tournament in like 7 years, so I don't even know if people I used to play chess with are like still alive. I really don't know. It's gonna be weird. I'm gonna go to that tournament and like not know anyone there, so it'll be interesting. Do you design the thumbnails yourself? Yes, I do. I don't feel like I'm great, but I'm trying to get a little better at them. But yeah, right now I do it myself. Maybe one day I'll have enough money to hire someone, but not right now. Video showing tips on how to get a stalemate. I don't know what that means. Like, if you're talking about like trying to set stalemate traps, no, I don't have a video on that. That's pretty rare. I mean, if, you know, there are like maybe some rare circumstances where you can do that, but most of the time that's more like, oh, your opponent made a big mistake and stalemated you, not like you did something to trick them to do it. You can't really, it doesn't really work that way. All right, guys, I gotta call it a night. Daryl, my kids are too young right now. They're 1 and 2, so I mean, my 2-year-old, like she knows the names of the pieces, and she's kind of like interested in just playing with them, but she doesn't really sit still long enough for me to like teach her how the pieces move and stuff. Although we might be getting to that point soon. We'll see. I think I was like 3 or 4 but by the time I actually learned, so we might be getting close. Okay, take it easy, guys. I will catch you next time. Later.